Hello, friends. It's Chapo.
No, this is when we really started to be like, what is going
Yeah,
on?
I was like, seriously,
who are these people?
I'm dissociating right now.
Like,
and that's
the reason that they're mad at each other is nonsense.
Well,
it's nonsense.
At the end
and
of this,
then Robbie tries to defend himself
Yeah.
against her, saying, we're doing what we have to do to survive. And then this other Will Poulter-looking motherfucker starts talking. It's like, who the hell let this guy in here?
Yes.
Like, they literally will just pan, and there's a new guy.
and at the end of the scene, after all this arguing that we really didn't follow, it's the fiance. At that time, I didn't know who he was, but now it's like we have these categories. He's the fiance character, and he's a bad actor, it goes without saying, and he's like straining his face, and he just looks really upset because of whatever just transpired, and he just looks like he's straining and in pain, and Felix is over here just like, I just want to know who I am. and it was just at all times, if you projected your own confusion onto the characters, it actually kind of worked.
Yeah, no, that it becomes probably the best movie I've seen in a while.
like these people are all distressed because they don't know anything. They're completely disoriented.
He's like, am I the brother or am I the fiance? Like, when is anyone going to explain
Please
it?
tell me if I'm your husband.
Just, please, what is my name? Give me that little kindness.
Yes.
Am I the uncle or the nephew?
Yeah.
What am I?
So that was
It's funny because like after in me trying to remember it, like after the house scene where it just like all logic broke down, we were like who am I? What are we seeing?
That is.
He all felt very second administration Reagan.
If they set out to make a movie about like 85 IQ like normie Christians who like forget who they're related to or who they're married to or whatever, that's genius.
I felt that way.
I felt that. Yeah.
I feel like every scene in this movie took place in a car that had a running, or in a garage that had a running car in it.
Yes.
Like it's slowly carbon monoxide
You're like,
poison.
huh? Well, you can't.
I seriously
your head pops up.
don't even remember what happens in the movie after.
Okay,
that.
so they split
yeah.
up. The Marauders leave, and the fiance goes with, and Robbie stays with the Marauders.
We shouldn't even try to disentangle the
All right,
Robbie.
they split up.
Yeah.
But then they end up fighting again.
Yes.
They like go out and try to stalk them and stop them,
Yeah.
and then they have a shootout.
But there's a lot of, really the rest of the movie is a lot of introspective character work because the family is preparing in some way, shape, or form to confront these Marauders again, I think, in Bosworth. And we don't see Bosworth for a really long time, so he's this looming, he's like Jaws. You know he's going to come back. And then you're like, okay, you don't show him till the third reel, that's fine. But that's where we get a lot of cool stuff, where a lot more boring theological stuff, and the YouTube star actress singing a lot.
Yeah, that's why I thought she must be
hold on a second.
like a Disney Channel girl or something. Because it just stopped for her to sing by the fire.
Yeah.
Like Elvis.
I want to talk a
movie.
little bit about that character because to me she was like every time she was on screen or talking, it was like she was from a different movie.
Yes.
And it's like she looks different than all the other rest of the family.
Yes.
She's clearly, I guess, another sister.
Yeah.
But she has this like she's younger but has this like wizened. She's like
she's like a crone.
Like she's
like a young crone.
and she's always just like saying like what's important is that like we love God. Like,
Yeah.
belief comes from love. And
Yes.
like love, God is love.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
And
not-
then she
Just, like,
just
just,
be like,
just spitting truths and singing like, you know.
and then she'll get all crotchety like an old, like a prospector fishwife or something. And she's
yeah.
like,
At one point she's like,
"Tarnation."
don't give me none of your sassafras.
Yeah, don't give me none of that sass back.
And it's just, you don't really understand her dynamic with everybody else, but she's supposed to be
didn't get
something.
her relationship to the other
I don't
characters.
know.
But
And
in
there's another
fairness,
kid.
the other sister, I kept at one point she's like, I won't forgive. Forgiving is different than accepting or something. But then at the end, she's telling someone else like, don't you understand? It's what I've been telling you this whole time. You have to forgive. And
Yeah.
it's like, I thought you were the one struggling with forgiveness. The only one who
There's
makes
no
any sense
consistency.
is the pissed brother.
The pissed brother has a consistent through line. He is pissed at God, and he shows his pissed at God by shooting at the sky.
He gets so mad.
They are in a post-apocalypse. Bullets are more valuable than fucking gold.
Yes.
And he's just, every time he like stubs his toe,
Yes.
he just like lets off a couple shots at Earth, like, God damn you, into the air.
It reminded me of the 13 Hours movie where there's the shot of the Libyans shooting the American flag, just like meaninglessly, just being like, oh, that's, where he just keeps going like,
God, you
every
piece
time
of shit.
something bad happens to him.
You magnificent son of a, you feckless thug.
This guy.
That was the Christian version of Bartlett in the National Cathedral.
Yep.
He was doing Richard Dawkins to the sister.
And I thought, honestly, I mean, obviously, I'm biased because I am an atheist. I thought he had the better of that argument. His criticism to me was more persuasive.
It wasn't really a
I
question.
she just went back to the old Christian well of, well, the fact that it doesn't make sense is why it's true. You know, that kind of thing.
Yes.
It's like, well, fine. That you either have the hole in there's like a crease in your brain that makes that make sense to you, or there isn't. There's nothing else to be done.
There's one other scene.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's a big pile of just similar stuff. But there's the flashback.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So this is when we find out. About
the dream sequence. We can't forget.
Oh yes.
There's a dream sequence where the fiance.
There's a third act of this movie, and there's a dream sequence and a flashback.
Oh,
There's a lot of
back to
flashbacks.
back.
Chris, you
Almost
have
back
not
to
seen
back.
enough Christian movies.
So it's like the fiance is sleeping by the campfire, and she has a dream of her and the fiance's sister and the fiance.
Yes.
Getting married.
Madness room.
Yes.
Dude, like
It's their wedding.
yeah, it's their wedding.
It's soft focus.
For some reason, it
looks like
an
a
all
douche
black
commercial.
church.
Yes.
And like
Yes, and there's a black gospel singer belting
Yes.
out a tune. There's a black minister.
marrying them.
Yeah.
If anyone remembers when Jimmy Scott in Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me is inexplicably suddenly in a room and starts singing, it was a lot like that where you feel like you're in the Black Lodge where like they're getting married and then the camera just pans over and there's this singer and she's got a mic and it's just like the scene takes
And
you
they have a
somewhere.
weird dialogue where like
Yeah.
he's like, "Do you love me?" And like she's like, "Well, we're getting married, I guess." And like Felix, I think at that point you were like, "Will you be my girlfriend?" Like, it's just
It
like,
was one of the holiest ceremonies in evangelical Christianity, the girlfriend ceremony.
Yes.
She has, to the untrained heathen eye, it looks like a wedding dress, but that's a girlfriend dress.
Yes.
and
And then inexplicably the cowboy Antifa
Guy
marauder
shows up
guy
to shoot them, and she
shoots
wakes
them.
up.
And she goes, oh no. So there's some kind of haunting thing
So I
coming
guess
at them.
like what's coming to a head is the older sister and brothers. She is standing up for faith and also kind of nonviolence and not picking up a weapon in anger. Like
And he is literally trying to kill God.
Yes.
And
With
what
a gun.
about,
Badass.
He is trying to shoot God with a gun.
In his defense, also like defend them from like
Right.
Yes.
marauding
Yeah.
roving gangs
Yeah.
of like
From 50-year-olds, one of whom dies every time they run into this family that's half children.
Yes.
half like preteen children. Like one 50-year-old, heavily armed 50-year-old just fucking perishes.
And they're not
every
even
time
getting shot. They're like going down from deep vein thrombosis and shit.
Yeah, they're getting killed horribly by America's dumbest family.
So, like as soon as the firefight starts, like, oh crap! I forgot to wear my airplane socks.
I knew I should have worn my magnetic bracelet today.
As they get, riddled with arrows, shot by a 12-year-old.
Wait. This is one thing because it's significant. It's significant for the end is that during one of their big debates, she's giving the the Dinesh D'Souza God arguments to his fallacies from the atheist side, and he's carving, and he's just like "fuck you," and he's talking about God sucks, and then it pans out after they're done, and he's carved Y into a tree, which will be important just aesthetically for the end of the
And
business.
then shortly after that, while they're all just milling, there's a whole bunch after this where they're just milling around in the camp.
Yes, a
and
lot of
vaguely
that.
trying to like hunt down the cowboy guy.
Or
Yes.
they have to move camp as well. That's
And we
another
got
plot point.
a
Sorry,
flashback.
Oh no, they
about
have to
that.
move camp because there is a baffling scene where the fiance is sleeping and someone takes their bug out bag.
Oh, yeah. Someone sneaks in and steals their
she
bag.
has an
And I don't think it
insane-
ever
she has
tells
an-
you who
She
does
has an
it.
insane argument with the man fiance where she's like
The nephew husband.
where the nephew husband fiance where she's like you wanted to hang out with Robbie and now we're missing our bags, and he's like, I know one thing's for certain. If somebody took our bags, they know where you are. And then she's like, I agree, we have to go. And he goes, well, you're forgiven for suspecting me.
And I don't think it's ever determined who took the bag.
It's not.
It is that scene, that remembering that scene, there are many things in this movie that preclude me from ever like having a good life ever again. And that scene is like near the top. Just, a woman could tell me she loves me. I could see my own child be born. I could see like just any amount of closure, any milestone in life, and I will be thinking, who took the bags? Why was that in the movie?
Felix seemed to be around that point. He's like, this movie was written by 13-year-old Macedonian children in some weird, farm, data farm.
Yeah. Like
Is it-
it's a Craigslist thing you can hire.
Yes.
Okay.
I make big movie.
We're at the end now.
We are approaching the actual
All right.
thing, the actual revelation that this movie.
Yeah, so the
contains.
flashback is the thing that caused the initial argument because they got a gun for the younger brother is we flash back to when the younger brother is like 5 with his twin sister who is dead, Becca, the one she's pining for, and the older sister, the fiance sister, is also there, looking.
I'm struggling. I've seen the movie and I'm
looking.
struggling.
I mean, I don't hate to say this about a child, but beat.
Yeah.
A quite unattractive little gremlin child.
This was when Matt said this, and I overheard him. I called him a goblin for saying this.
He was talking about you, not the kid.
I heard him say goblin. I thought you were talking about her.
No, he was talking about you.
Talking about you.
It's you, dude. You're the goblin.
When I heard you say goblin, I'm like, exactly. She's a fucking goblin.
In bed with a goblin.
This movie destroyed all of our humanity.
Yeah. It was a...
In bed with a goblin. So we find out that the source of all this trauma is that while these kids are playing in the house, their
This is a flashback.
dad,
This is a flashback.
their dad left a fucking pistol in a holster on the fucking table.
Yes.
And the little kid took it and
the
shot
brother.
the sister. The brother took it and accidentally shoots his sister while the other sister watches.
Yes.
And then it's about how the guilt, and it's all about how this, like, the brother has such bad guilt and the sister has a hard time forgiving him. Meanwhile, no one is talking about the fact that the father should be in fucking prison
In any other
for
movie,
allowing that to happen.
In any other movie, that scene, the way it's shot, the way it all goes down, would be in a movie stringently arguing for gun control
Yeah.
and how guns are not something that we should
Instead,
have. as the answer.
Sorbo leaves the gun out, which, like, all these gun nuts are always saying, like, if you're a responsible gun owner,
Right.
they always fixate on, like, trigger discipline and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this guy is, like, supposed to be Mr. NRA. He's member of an NRA type group that they, like, conspicuously show.
His wallet.
Yeah. He just leaves a fucking gun out, and
Yeah.
the kid dies, which you should go to prison for. Conservative people say you should be throw the book. And not only does he not go to jail, he apparently has no guilt, and all the tension is about, like, if he forgive his son.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, then when he turns 21, he buys him a fucking rifle.
Buys him of like a mass shooter weapon.
Psychopath.
Like, he also, the pistol was in an ankle holster, and he was in his scrubs when he came home, which means, like, when he was doing surgeries, he's all day.
gun
He's
in
like,
his-
what if I need my gun in the OR?
What if
He
the
is-
film John Q breaks out?
Yeah,
Which marks the second movie in a row we reviewed in which somebody has brought a gun into a hospital as a major plot point.
It's a flashback to that.
I want to get to like so. At some point,
okay.
Brian Bosworth gets to drop on the family, and they overcome him, and
Yeah,
another
they tie him up.
and another raider. Basically the movie is converging like two philosophical points. The older sister who clings very closely to faith and says that, like, no matter what, like, a food that is stolen is worse than food that is, like, poisoned. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think Adam said that or something.
Adam Friedland.
Adam Friedland.
Yeah.
Adam 22 said that.
but she holds close to the Bible and Jesus, but also, like, not using guns and
Right.
killing people. And the brother who's mad at God because of all these terrible things that have happened, but is
Poisonous
practical,
nettles.
realistic, and believes that firearms. Like,
Serve a purpose.
there are bad people with firearms. Like, you need to have firearms to protect yourself from the roving, the murder. To be honest, he has a point.
has
He has a more
Like,
persuasive
yeah.
argument.
Yeah. And then they have Bosworth tied up, and he wants to kill him, and he's like, he killed Dad, and that's true. He literally murdered their father.
Right. And then this is where we learn the payoff of the faith, his child.
like the youngest daughter, the one. That,
Okay.
Okay, I
So-
don't get this.
Speak
I still
on
don't
this,
get
Matt.
I still don't
Explain it to
understand
me.
this. So he's tied up, Bosworth is tied up to a tree. They're all arguing about whether to kill him. And then Faith, the little girl, comes out of the tent.
This is, just to be clear, Faith is the youngest
youngest daughter.
sister of the family.
And remember, earlier in the movie, Bosworth, after the accident, was going, my faith, my faith.
Right. So we're like, is that his daughter?
So we had
somehow?
a hard time thinking of this. And I think that my initial theory was that, was after I saw the fantasy, the superimposition,
Yes.
that that he, like, identified her as his daughter and tried to get her back, even though she wasn't.
Like he hallucinated her as his own
But
daughter.
also, the evidence was so thin that the other thought was, well, maybe the daughter like he had to give her up because she was in a car accident, and they adopted her, and it was his actual daughter.
Yeah.
He had to go to jail.
yeah.
So I was assuming that like he was a drunk shitheel who went to nearly killed his daughter and went to jail. And Kevin Sorbo, being the good surgeon and Christian father, like adopted her.
Yeah, but then
'cause he went to
it gets
prison.
really confusing because she comes out of the tent, sees him, he freaks out. It's like Faith, and she's like, she starts talking to him, saying, "Oh, Father, it
She knows
wasn't
his
your
name.
fault. It wasn't your fault."
Yeah.
But then you think, no, wait a minute. She would have been a baby. She would not remember him. And then you realize, I anyway realized that apparently that is a hallucination.
Okay.
And his daughter did die. Her being named Faith is a coincidence because he lost his faith.
But she looks just like the daughter he had.
It's
Whose
basically-
name was not Faith. He lost his faith when the first daughter died.
Right.
I still don't get it.
I don't get it.
I don't.
It's very hard to
It's like the
understand.
Martha moment in Batman versus
Yeah, yeah.
Superman.
Why'd you say that name? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it
Martha.
was baffling.
Yeah. I still don't
So-
understand that.
Okay, like I said earlier, the
Much
movie,
of this film we must pass over in silence.
I'm getting to the act of revelation. So like here's how I'm going to introduce it. It's like much of this movie is defined by like the philosophical split in the movie between the sister who loves God and wants to like follow His law but hates guns, and the brother who's very angry at God but understands that guns are like a necessary tool to protect yourself and family, especially in some kind of apocalyptic scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
So there needs to eventually be, like in this movie, like the dialectic must be resolved in that, like, how can we both love God but also love firearms and
Correct.
the use of lethal force to protect
It's
our
a tough
property
one.
and our family?
It's a tough one.
Right?
Yes.
How does this movie resolve this?
Oh.
Okay. Eventually you find out that the mother is still alive. She shows up at a very, a crucial point of the movie.
She's nearby
Mm-hmm.
when they have boss.
Again, like most of this movie was filmed in someone's backyard, and it's like taking place within about like a half-mile square radius,
Yeah.
The mother saves her. Is like, I'm here, like I'm back, everybody, and no one, at no point are any of the kids like, where were you?
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
How'd
been
you
alone
get
for
away?
months,
You were
yeah,
captured
yeah.
by the cowboy.
Okay. But like I said, how's the movie bring together? How do we love God? How do we love and still use guns? The movie resolves it by the sudden appearance